Hey, it's the latest episode of The Ugly Truth. I tell Paula about another weird dream I had. We recap the UFC fight over the weekend and a ton of breaking news in the celeb world, even as we record. All of this, plus some ugly and awkward moments of the week. Thank you so much for listening. Enjoy the show.
It's another uncensored look at the world around you, from sisters who will say just about anything to anyone at any time. It's the Uggs. Jamie?
Get on board with this.
Paula?
Whatever you guys have going on, just sit outside.
Uncensored as always, it's time for the Ugly Truth.
Welcome to The Ugly Truth. This is episode 479. Ugh. Ugh. Hey, that's nice.
Thanks.
I like it. We're recording a bit early in the week, so some things from the weekend are much fresher to us. Mm-hmm. One being, last week we talked about some weird dreams, and I had another weird dream, and I was like, God, and this happened like on Friday night, or when I had it. It was like right after we had our show, and I was like, I couldn't wait to tell you because I was laughing so hard at myself when I woke up. Have you ever woken up laughing?
No.
Okay. I know you wake up screaming and crying.
I usually wake up screaming or yelling or
right.
Just like, oh, some kind of weird noise.
Soiling oneself.
I have to be woken up because I'm like,
Oh, jeez. Yes.
And I'm on the living room couch while the kids are watching TV and they're looking at me and they're like, what's wrong with mom?
You know what?
Paula, wake up.
Honestly, that happened to me not even 6 months ago where I was moaning and Daryl woke me up. And he goes, honey, are you okay? You were having a dream. And I was having a hardcore sex dream.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, no, I'm fine. He goes, well, are you okay? Was it a nightmare? I'm like, no, it was all right. It's fine. I was like, geez.
You know what's funny about sex dreams for me, though? I could literally be having an orgasm in my dream. And then as soon as I wake up, it's like I'm rubbing my elbow. Like nothing's happening. And I'm just like,
happened to me.
I'm like, how does that happen? Because I'm like full blown, like, oh. In my dream,
I know,
and then I wake up and it's just like I'm masturbating my elbow, and I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Isn't that weird? It is odd. I've had some of the most intense orgasms in my life in a dream, and I'm like, "How do I replicate that?"
Well, then I try, and then I'm just like, "Well, while we're on that note," and then I'm like, and I'm like, "Nothing's happening."
It's like I'm like I'm blowing my nose. What's going on?
I just throw my vibrator across the room, and I'm like, "Fuck you."
It is weird. I was like thinking about that. I'm like, God, how do you replicate? I mean, first of all, if I told Daryl, I'm like, I want to replicate this orgasm, he'd be like, absolutely, to the ground. What do we have to do? I'm like, well, we have to assemble 4 men. We have to be outside by a pool. And I have to.
Well, one, you have to not be you.
It can't be you. There has to be some element that is completely unrealistic, but if we can do that, I think it can happen.
If you can be foreign and speak French, and
if we can be at the beach in Saint Tropez,
if you can look at Alexander Volkanovsky, just maybe about like 6 inch taller, where your knuckles don't drag on the floor.
God.
We'll talk about him. I can't wait.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, so my dream was this. It wasn't even a sex dream. I dreamt that... Did I tell you that I was obsessed with my eyebrows? Oh, maybe not. I dreamt that my eyebrows, the hair was on my eyelids. So I had like 3-inch long eyebrows, and I was trying to pluck the hair.
Wait, you had hairy eyelids?
Yes, but it looked like eyebrow, but it was just really low on my lid. And I kept going, well, this isn't going to work. And so I had tweezers.
You're like Groucho Marx?
Worse. It was just like this long, it was like these smattering of eyebrow hair on my lids, and it was like everywhere. And so I kept trying to, like when you cut your hair and you have like this little fluttering of little cuts on your, little haircuts on your face, and you brush it off. That's what it looked like, but it was on my eyes below my eyebrows. And so I have tweezers, and I have a weird not obsession. I have this weird thing about tweezers where I can't seem to find the right one. So I have like 10 pairs of tweezers because they all suck.
Okay, Mom.
Oh my God.
Jesus.
I know. But I can't seem to, because I have such tiny, thin hair. Some of these are too thick and they can't like get in there,
You I really get those You need to get those tweezers they use to like pull out blackheads.
I have one.
Like
I finally have a pair. God. Yes, I have a pair and I like them. Anyway, in my dream, I'm sitting there going, well, I have to pluck these off and I can't get the hair out. And I'm just standing there getting anxious because I'm like, well, I can't go out looking like this.
Well, get that shit waxed. Jesus.
Well, in my dream.
Yes. Or nair it. I don't know.
Oh, God. I tried to do the stay-at-home waxing kit once, and it did not go well. So that won't be happening. And I think, I told Daryl, I said, I think there is a waxing place open where it's like super, you have to wear a mask and everything, but I think there's a place where I can go and get them done. So I'm gonna check it out next time I head that way. But I was like, why am I so obsessed with my eyebrows? I don't even have any. I hardly have any. I would be one of those weird old women who's going to get them tattooed, and I'm going to look surprised in my 80s for the rest of my life.
It's true. I'm just going to have like one pencil mark, and then you're going to see like a bunch of gray hairs surrounding it.
And they stick straight out. And they're everywhere. There's no uniformity. That's just going to be, oh God, I don't want that. Maybe I'll have bangs. I'll just get bangs.
I wonder why none of us have eyebrows.
I don't know. We're so hairless, Paula. It's the weirdest thing ever.
Yeah, that is true.
We just have no hair.
True.
It's strange.
I was just telling the story the other day and this is the thing I don't understand about people who get waxed, where it's just like, people who get waxed, they literally have to I tried to get my leg waxed and I grew it out as far as it'll grow because it stops eventually.
Yes.
And so my legs were hairy. Well, for me, they were hairy.
Right.
I went in and she's like, no, come back in 2 weeks. I'm like, it won't matter. I'm like, this is it. This is it.
Make no mistake.
That's how I felt. And so I'm like, forget it. I'm like, if this is what it takes to get waxed, I'm like, I'm not going to walk around like this. I kind of feel the same way about like any kind of bikini or Brazilian or anything like that. I'm like,
my God.
If you've got to walk around like, with your hair poking out like that, like all sharp and
like a thicket.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Thistly. I don't want to deal with it because, like what Samantha said, she's like, I'm in between waxes. And I'm like, well, God, how long do you have to look like that?
That would just be our luck is we'd be like, okay, we have to grow out all of the hair on our body for 30 days. And then we're going to go into this appointment and have everything waxed. And we go in there and be like, yeah, you're going to have to come back in a month. Even our pussy hair? Really? I don't want that. I wouldn't. I would say, you know what, never mind. And I would invest in a really good pair of scissors and a whole sleeve of razors, and I would get that shit taken care of.
Well, I guess I just kind of feel like, so if it takes that much before you grow it back out to get it done again, and I'm like, then what's the point? Because you're pokey all the time, and guys want the bareness, constantly.
I don't think that we are candidates. I know people and who are friends who are much hairier everywhere, and they would rather die than lose their wax person. It's just, we're just not blessed with thick hair follicles.
Yeah, and you know what? And they always preface it by saying, "Well, I'm German, we're hairy," and I'm like, I've never. Well, you could have been anything. I don't
know if it has anything to do with.
I don't know that I see a lot of naked Germans or whatever. I don't know. Yeah. I mean.
I don't know.
All guys are pretty hairy, so I don't see many naked women.
I've seen every variety of woman's hair, face, legs, arms, not their vaginas, but
how?
Well, you can just be sitting somewhere and look at someone and see the thicket of hair on their arms. It's not like it's not possible. But if you look at their eyebrows or whatever, and you're just like, okay, you definitely are hairier than me. And so I almost feel it's one of those things where I should be glad that I don't have to contend with body hair the way some people do, but it also makes your hair on your head and your eyebrows a problem because it's, I don't have to shave every day.
Shave what?
My legs or my hair, my underarms.
Oh God, I can go a whole week without shaving my legs.
Well, yeah, but I just mean as far as.
But I mean, that's just because I'm not in a relationship, and if I go to the store, social distancing and everything, no one can really.
They can't see anyway.
Yeah, I'm just like, it's summertime.
You have blonde hair, so it doesn't even matter.
For some reason though, my armpit hair that grows really fast.
Well, yeah, that I will shave every day because I can't stand the feeling. When the few times that I've been forced to go camping and I will shave like a dolphin and then go, and then we'll come back 3 days later and I'll feel like Attila the Hun, and I'll get into the shower and shave, because the fact that I can feel it, it just grosses me out to no end. And so, but it's still hardly anything, you know, it's still hardly anything. So I guess I should be grateful, but I really wish I had nice thick brows. Like, it'd be so nice to have nice, strong brow line or hair. But I don't, so I'm going to be one of those ladies.
I think we get it from Dad and from
he's
the part
hairless.
of him.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
it's because he's Native American too.
Yes.
And so
I have never seen a hairy Native American. You are correct. Although they have beautiful long hair. They can grow it really long and thick.
I don't think we have that part. I mean, my hair's nice and long.
I have good hair. It's just not thick.
You know, my hair used to be a lot nicer when I was younger, but it was nice and like long and shiny and soft. And now it's just like, you know, I don't know, like sticks or hay.
Maybe take a supplement. I don't know.
And I have this hair mask thing that I use once a week, and it's like soft for the day. And then next day I have this hair oil I use every single day, because I just do that for the sake that I can actually brush it. You know?
Is it real?
I feel like I need. It was so tangly, but I also started using this new shampoo that's like sulfate free, so I don't have to wash my hair every day. Because you know, usually my hair looks like an oil pit by the end of the day.
Yes.
And so I'm like, it'd be nice to not have to wash my hair every single day.
It's so true. Okay, so before we get into the specifics of what we enjoyed or didn't enjoy about the UFC fights specifically, let me just tell you what happened. I don't know if you saw my post on Saturday night.
I didn't. No, what'd you say?
On Saturday night, Daryl had ordered the fight about 3 o'clock. No problems. Mm-hmm. So we log in at 7 o'clock. Well, he watched some of the prelims on ESPN, and then we logged into the pay-per-view around 7. And we got this big screen. It says, ESPN Plus is not available in your area. You must be in the United States or outlying areas.
Whoa, what the hell?
And we're like, what? So he logged out, he logged back in, he reset everything to see maybe there was a little glitch or something. Same thing. So I go on Twitter and I'm looking, and there's a significant amount of people who are having the same problem as me. I tweeted to ESPN Plus help. I tweeted to ESPN. Everybody is pissed, and there's no way to get around it. We can watch it on our phone, but the app is dead in the water on our TV. And so we did not get to log into the pay-per-view until almost 9 o'clock.
Well, could you cast it from your phone?
We tried everything. ESPN Plus does not like Apple, so it did not work. So I watched the last 2 rounds of the Thug Rose fight on my phone, and then Daryl uninstalled ESPN Plus and then reinstalled it, logged in, and right before the Aldo Yan fight, we got it.
Oh, good. Okay.
First of all, super pissed off, and it has nothing to do with the fights being good or bad. It's that we paid $70 and we couldn't access it. And of course, to get a refund out of ESPN Plus is hilarious.
Oh,
it's hilarious.
Yeah,
you have to call.
impossible.
Yeah, you have to call. You have to be on hold. Oh, well, we're really sorry, but it's. I mean, it's insane. So
all you really missed though was the Van Zant fight, which was a joke.
Did she win?
Oh God, no! She got submitted in the first round.
Okay, so she's done. Her duty is done for the UFC. She's out.
Yeah, in fact, Dana White said, "I think she should explore being a free agent."
Yeah, she doesn't want to fight anymore anyway. She's making way too much money being pretty. So
well, she talked about. She's like, you know what? I think I want to see about maybe doing some more fights and signing a new contract. That's what she said.
What?
And I don't know. Maybe she was feeling like all nostalgic or whatever.
Well, they all do. They all do when their time is done.
And Dana's just like, I think she should explore being, a free agent kind of person, because she's terrible. I mean, her record going in that night was 8-4.
Well, here's the thing. She like a lot of the early female fighters were very good until the real talented artist came in and started just owning that shit. And she's just of the last of the old guard. And it was fine, and she was great at the time, but now she's so outmatched that it's time for her to do either up her skill or find another place where she can dominate, or go do, fitness and, do what a lot of people do who have that kind of reputation is, go make a living off of it.
Do naked poses on her kitchen counter with her husband.
Yeah, continue showing off your anus to the world on Instagram. I mean, it seems to be making her money.
Stupid is that, prior to this fight, I would say about 6 months ago, she's just like, I can make so much more money on Instagram than I do doing UFC.
Well,
so it's kind of like a backslap. And so, Dana doesn't take that shit lightly. And
well,
so
he just doesn't have respect for it. There's too many people.
No.
There's way too many people who are far hungrier and want to get in, especially in the female part, that it's like, that's fine. Move on.
Yeah, he's probably like, if you want to carry a card or something, and then like sit in the chairs on the sidelines, I got a job for you. But
oh God, Paul.
Other than that,
even imagine. First of all, she doesn't have the boobs for it. But anyway, all right. So with that being said, the first fight I saw was the treacherous Yan Aldo fight.
Oh God.
Now here's the deal: Aldo won the first round, and that was it. Yan is ridiculous. And I don't know about anybody else, but I started getting anxiety because they wouldn't stop the fight. I was like, why are they letting this guy pummel him for so long? I was getting nervous.
I don't know what that,
like, what are you waiting for?
And that's what everyone was saying.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so here's my thoughts on that fight. The thing is obviously that guy is a striker. He's got a boxing background, okay? And so Aldo, he's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And so I'm just like, why didn't you try and start taking him down in the third round?
It's what they all do. They
want to outstrike. And I'm just like, stop trying to be a striker. Because for some reason, there's this pride thing about striking.
Yes.
And I'm just like, do what you're good at. And I'm like, you could have had him. If you had taken him down, yes, he's strong as fuck. But when you get them in those twisty, turvy, pretzel-like positions, they're just like, oh, they don't know what to do.
They're not as skilled as getting out of it as others.
You know what?
Yeah.
Aldo used to do submissions all the time.
Well, the one thing that I was surprised as well. I think this fight was more for Yan to break through to the next big challenge, because Aldo is 33. He's been fighting forever.
Yeah.
Yan is only 27, and he's bigger than him. Even though height-wise he might not be, but he's bigger than him. And so...
Well, he's got these... he reminds me of those Hulk smash arms.
Yeah. My biggest beef... I thought it was a really decent fight. I just was really unhappy with how long they waited for... after they finally stopped... Or I should say the ref finally stopped that fight, Aldo was down for minutes. He probably couldn't hear. His ears were probably ringing. It was insane, and it was cruel to do it.
But you know what? I was happy, though, to see when they went to raise the hand of the winner. He didn't actually look that bad. So
no, I think he just got his bell rung, and it was tiring.
But, someone just said, like, they knocked the CTE into him or something like that.
Yeah, that was bad news. Especially with everything we know about brain damage. I hated it. I'm like, I have never been a big proponent of stoppage because you just never know. But it was clear that he was done fighting. He was defending his head so that he wouldn't die. But other than that...
that's what I said. I'm all covering your ears isn't defending yourself.
No.
It's just stopping you from getting hit in the face or the head.
It was awful. It was awful.
Yeah, Dana said he was a horrible, horrible stoppage.
Yeah, I was so unimpressed with that. And I'm like, I'm getting anxiety. Like, I can't do this anymore. So finally it stopped. Yan clearly won. I don't know that weight class very well, so I don't know who his next contender would be, but...
Well, that weight class is like the Cody Garbrandts, the Dominic Cruzes, the TJ Dillashaw's. It'll be... I'm kind of frustrated with this new style of striking with just these giant, massive punches that kind of come out of nowhere with no particular, like where they're trying to like aim specifically at someone. They kind of just flail these giant punches everywhere and hope. It's kind of like a shotgun.
Those are haymakers.
They just hope something sticks. Like that's kind of the thing right now. And I'm just like... There's no strategy behind that, really.
Because that's old UFC. That is super old vintage UFC. That's how the Iceman and all those. In fact, that's why GSP was so different than them, because he wasn't throwing haymakers, but everybody else was, and it was because it's explosive and people like to see it. And then there was this time period where GSP and others started following suit, where they're just doing the Muay Thai and they're doing jiu-jitsu and they're doing all these submissions. And although it's beautiful to see if you understand it, it's boring to people and they don't get it. And that was GSP's biggest complaint is his fights were so boring because they were so technical. No one could see how technical he was because all it looked like was a guy being pushed up against a cage for 10 minutes. And so now it sounds like they're reverting back to the haymakers because, they want fight of the night, they want bonuses, they want to make a big splash. And I agree that I think it just depends on how they're matched. It depends on if you have two guys. It's like little heavyweight fights because heavyweight, that's what they do. So,
well, that's what that dumbass Greg Hardy does, the one that used to be the NFL football player.
Oh, right.
He just goes in and starts swinging his massive arms and just hopes he hits something. Yeah. But I'm like, that's how you get disqualified and turned over to no contest because you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
True.
You're using a fucking inhaler in between matches.
Which is so inappropriate.
Which is funny because I think Dominic Cruz is like, well, hell, if that's what we're doing. He's like, I'm bringing an
oxygen mask.
An oxygen mask, and I'll use those in between matches.
Seriously. So there was that one, and then the next fight we watched was Masvidal.
No. It was Holloway and Volkanovski.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Yes, of course. You know what? I was blocking it from my brain because it was such a poorly judged match that I couldn't function.
I know.
Max Holloway won that fight. Everyone agrees.
Everybody knows.
Everybody believes it. I don't know why.
But you know what? I'm glad everyone thinks that and knows it. Even Dana White knows that, and I'm glad because that means they're not going to give up on him.
No, because first of all, he's a Hall of Famer.
God, he's so young. He's only like 28 or something.
And everybody already agrees. He's already punched his clock or his card into the Hall of Fame. He's absolutely legendary at such a young age.
The good thing about this one is that means I think there'll be a trilogy.
Oh, fuck yeah, there will be.
Well, actually, it won't even really be a trilogy because Volkanovski won the first two. But
well, it'll be a third try at the belt. Yes.
Right, because that was I don't. Sometimes the judges, I'm like, what are you seeing?
I know.
But I will say, it's hard to describe. Volkanovski, he does do really good, significant, like punching, kicking, all that stuff. So, I mean, he might know how to rack up points. And
I don't know what happened, but when he started doing the takedowns, he knew that he needed to pick up some points. And I think that's what he did. And I don't know if he won by a sliver. I don't remember the scorecard, but...
Well, and they always say you have to beat the champ,
right?
So when it's that close,
yes,
they'll usually give it to the champ.
And I said that actually, interestingly, I said that to Daryl. I go, well, it appears that Holloway won the five round fight. However, I think he started to get a little too relaxed in the championship rounds. And he allowed him to score up some points. And so I don't know if he took it because you have to take it. And I did not. I still think he won overall, but I think if you're looking at points, I don't doubt that Volkanovski kept his belt.
Well, and that's just the thing, though, is like when you want to take a champ's belt, I mean, it's got to be pretty like. What's the word I'm looking for?
You have to look like you stole it, like you took it.
Basically, like it's like without a doubt.
Yes.
Like you either beat their ass or it's just like you left them sitting there on the ground sweating and huffing and puffing, and you're just like, I got you.
It's true.
And it's undeniable.
It's true. Yes.
And when it comes to these sliver matches,
yes,
you didn't win.
The champ is gonna take it. Yeah.
Even though, like, if it was a regular fight, sure, by decision he would have won.
Yeah.
Or unanimous, probably would have won.
But a belt is a different.
But for a belt, no, you've got to like leave no doubt about it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I hate it, but I mean, I think it's clear that he defended his belt. So. I mean, I still think overall he did shitty, but...
And I actually like Volkanovski. I think he's a pretty good guy. Okay, so I had this epiphany.
What?
Brad and I, so we've been doing this betting thing every time there's a fight. And I mean, when I say betting, we bet like maybe $20.
Right.
And so we were writing down everyone's stats, how they usually win or how they usually lose and their number, like their height, weight, age, all that kind of stuff. And so I was writing down Volkanovski's stuff and I was writing down his height. He's 5'6". And then his reach, it was
like 71?
71 and a half inches. And I was just like, wait a minute. I'm
That's
like,
very long.
I'm like 5'6". I'm like, he's 66 inches tall.
How
I said,
is his
but
reach?
his reach is 71 and a half inches.
That's kind of strange. That's
I'm
unusual.
I'm like, you mean to tell me his arms are 5.5 inches longer than he is? And I'm like, oh my God. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, Ryan. And so I told him, I'm like, he's literally walking around dragging his knuckles on the floor. And he's like,
could.
no, he's not, Mom. It's his wingspan. I'm like,
It is
yeah.
wingspan.
And so then we started searching Volkanovski's arms on the internet.
Oh, God. Is it like
Trying to
Michael
find
Phelps?
Well, I think he knows it, so I don't think he ever truly extends it. Like there was a picture of him holding the flag. You know how they hold the flag and their arms are outstretched?
Yeah.
Well, his elbows were dipped down.
Oh,
And
does
I'm
he have a complex about his arms?
I'm like, you motherfucker! I'm gonna stretch those things out.
Yeah, I didn't know that men had complexes about arms, for God's sakes. I figured,
Oh my God! If you look like a fucking bald eagle and you were only 5'6", don't you think you'd feel a little weird about it?
I don't know. I'd be like, look at this impressive wingspan. I
Like
don't know.
a giant. If you were like a condor. You know?
God, I know.
Maybe that was his nickname. Well, he played rugby too, and I'm like,
Oh.
Plus, he's got these giant short thighs, and
Oh,
so
my goodness.
you know, if you had these freakishly long arms, and maybe that was his nickname in school, hey arms. You know, it's just like,
Oh, and did you see the guy that walked him out? The 10-foot tall, 10-foot tall guy that walked.
Jamie, he probably was like 5'8". It wouldn't have
No,
mattered.
he was towering over everybody. And Daryl and I were like, Daryl goes, what's going on with that tall guy? He's so tall that the camera
Okay.
cut off his head. Like, you couldn't even get a picture of his face. And I was like, he's
Okay.
like 11 feet tall. I go, he looks like he's walking his son out to a soccer game. What is happening?
I joke all the time about boys and guys and stuff like that, but I usually stay pretty mum about the ones that I actually think are attractive.
You thought the tall
And
guy with
so-
no head was attractive?
No, I think Volkanovski is rather attractive.
Oh.
Like his body and just his adorable face and his accent and, you know, even the arms. I find him to be very attractive.
Okay. All right, and then finally, the fight that you were looking forward to, the Masvidal fight with Usman, went exactly as expected. I don't think anybody thought for a second. I mean, I will give this: Masvidal is very strong, and he is definitely was defensively trained for this fight with only 6 days, but he was completely outmatched. There was no doubt about it. And the only way he would have won that is if he had gotten a rogue punch in and knocked Usman out. But I didn't see that happening. Usman was so much faster than he was.
Well, and see, it's so funny because, you know, the day before the fight, everyone's just like, he's going to baptize him. He's
said that?
resurrected.
No, oh my God.
risen.
Oh,
He's
these
going to
are-
baptize him. Blah, blah, blah.
Are these crossover WWE fans?
I don't know
Because
who
I
they
think
are,
no one
you know.
who understands thought that.
Usman's gonna get creamed
Oh,
and blah 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 blah.
God.
The next day, well, for you know, having taken a fight on
Of
6 days
course,
notice, and
of
you know, having to
course.
lose weight, having to lose 20 pounds in 6 days, blah blah blah.
They had
you know.
those excuses in their holster 24 hours before this fight. The fight went accordingly. Usman schooled him on all counts. And I was glad that it happened that way because Usman is a champion. Absolute champion.
The only thing I wish Usman had done was submitted, because Usman said on one of his interviews, he says, with this one, he says, I'm really going to do something to humble him. He says, I'm
Yes.
going to take him down, and he
Yes.
says, I'm going to take something from him that will really humble him, and it will make him lose something. Like, it will make him feel like less of a man, and it will make him reevaluate things. He says, I'm
Yeah,
going to take
and he
that
didn't
from
do
him.
that. Yeah, he did not do that.
And so I took that to mean, like, I will submit him,
Yeah.
and I will either make him tap or I will make him pass out.
Yes, and that did not happen.
That, when you see that done to male fighters,
Oh,
that
God.
really does do something.
It happened to McGregor, and he wanted to kill himself.
Having the potential of your life taken from someone, even though it'll never happen, but having to tap and, like, basically ultimate their fighter, that is emasculating.
But the thing is that although you initially were portraying Masvidal as someone who has zero skills, zero anything, he is not zero skilled. He did train to get out of those submissions, and he did successfully a couple of times. Even in the very beginning, when Usman tried to submit him 2 seconds into round 1, before anybody was even slippery, he couldn't do it. And so I don't know if it was his defensive training or if he's just really, really strong.
I thought it was probably because he was really strong.
Yes. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about a little bit of celeb news. There was like a flurry of weird celeb news that happened over the weekend.
Oh my God, Jamie, seriously.
So let's start with the minimal and work our way up to the more devastating. The first thing is there's been another COVID divorce, Paula.
Who?
Now, you may not care, but it is a celeb divorce. Darius Rucker, lead singer of Hootie and the Blowfish. He and his wife.
And the solo country singer.
Who, by the way, I really like.
I love him.
He and his wife of 20 years are splitting. I can't.
What
I mean,
the hell?
I know, but it's the COVID. I'm telling you. I was thinking. I told Daryl. I said, you know what this is? This is proof that when you're married and you have children and you're really busy, you have kids activities, sports, productions, family, you've got a big, a job, you've got a home, and you're constantly, in motion. You can fill your life with so many distractions that you don't even realize that you're not happily married anymore, because you're just trying to live life so quickly that you don't focus on your marriage. And now this COVID hits and everyone's home. The kids are home. The wife is home. The husband can't tour. He can't do anything. And now everyone's home. And now you have no choice but to focus on your marriage. And they're going, Jesus Christ, we are the worst. And then they go, we got to get out of here. And then they get divorced. It's crazy.
Oh my gosh. Did you know Bill Hader and Rachel Bilson are getting divorced too?
That breaks my heart. And that's new information I did not know. I love Bill Hader. Another COVID divorce.
Also on Friday, people broke the news that Bill Hader and Rachel Bilson had amicably split. I don't know if they were divorced or just married or not.
I don't think they got married. No. They broke up. That's too bad. Anyway, so another COVID divorce notch on the belt, and it is sad, but it is interesting how millionaires, billionaires, it doesn't matter. If you have been creating diversions through your whole marriage, shit comes home to roost, and you've got to reflect and you realize we're not really doing this anymore, are we? And it's over. 20 years is a long time to decide.
Well, I was going to say, I saw another breakup, I want to say a couple days ago. And some of these people have been together for like 10 years or, like not a short period of time.
No, not a quickie 3-4 year thing. It's like an established marriage. It's really sad, but it also, this is the kind of stuff where, shit gets real and you find out exactly how strong your marriage really is. And it's just really fascinating to see whose is or isn't. Not a lot of surprises, but there are some. Like this one is really surprising to me. But yeah, crazy and sad. And they, of course, have children.
Aww.
They have 2 kids, 19 and 15. And then he has a 25-year-old from a previous relationship. Wow. So, and of course, and this is the part that kind of made me roll my...
Oh my gosh.
What?
Breaking news. Naya Rivera confirmed dead after her body is found in the lake.
They found her. So all your conspiracy theories were not true. She did get stuck and die.
Naya Rivera's body was discovered Monday morning in the Southern California lake where she disappeared last week, according to a report. The body found Monday morning in Lake Peru, about 56 miles northwest of downtown Los Angeles, was confirmed to be that of the Glee star. Law enforcement told TMZ. The recovery is in progress.
Well, there you go.
Rivera vanished Wednesday while on a boating trip with her 4-year-old son. Wow,
yeah,
insane.
Well, I mean, on one hand, I'm glad that they found her for the closure for her family. Her mom went out there. Her sister went out there. Her ex-husband went out there to help with the search.
It says authorities said the body was discovered floating around 9:10 a.m. local time in the
they said that would happen
portion of the lake where she was last seen.
Yeah, she got stuck underneath there's a lot of debris. I think she got stuck and drowned, and then ultimately things change and you will ultimately float.
That's absolutely devastating.
It's horrifying. It's absolutely horrible.
I feel like an asshole.
It's all right.
But regardless, I mean, that's just so sad.
It is very sad, and I feel for her family. I mean, her mother is just inconsolable. Her father is inconsolable.
I just feel bad for her baby boy. I mean,
I do too. At least he has his dad, but I understand. I know, agree.
But can you imagine that story growing up? I mean,
no, because he'll never not hear or see it, because social media is forever. So it fucking sucks. But anyway, safe home to her. She's now with her family. Thank goodness. But anyway, okay, so with that being said, we'll just go to the big one. Kelly Preston was announced that she passed away last night at 57 after a 2-year battle with breast cancer.
Did you find out last night or this morning?
I did. No, I found out last night. I just didn't post about it because I was so sad. I was like, oh my God.
I was online and I was doing something. I went to Google and then it says Kelly Preston died. I'm like, what the fuck? And I was just
I didn't believe it at first. I was like,
didn't even believe it. I'm like, who?
I'm all Kelly Preston.
I was like, who wrote this shit? And so I clicked on it.
Yeah.
And then it says Kelly Preston died at 57 of breast cancer. I'm like, what? I'm like, she didn't have breast cancer. And so I started reading it. And then it said that she had been fighting breast cancer privately for 2 years. And I'm just like, shut the front door. And so, I was in shock. Like, for a long time. I just couldn't believe it. Of course, I couldn't tell anybody in my house because they didn't know who the fuck I was talking about. But
you know what? I remember Kelly Preston. The very first time I saw her was in her very first movie called Mischief.
Yes.
Where that is such a great movie, and her scene when she lets him have sex with her.
I know
that whole thing, and she's like, "We can play, but we can't go all the way," and then he does, and she's like, "God damn it!" She's
I
like,
know.
"Get out!" You know, I mean, it was so
what's sad
funny.
about that is like that scene when I saw it, I'm just like, she has the most fantastic breasts I've ever seen in my whole life.
I know, she's so beautiful.
Well, and plus because she was so tiny, but she had these massive boobs, and I'm like, I want to be her. I always thought she was like one of the most beautiful women I'd ever seen. And she was in probably one of my most favorite movies of all time, For Love of the Game, with Kevin Costner and her about the baseball movie. And
you like that movie?
Oh my God, Jamie, that's like one of my favorite movies of all time.
Interesting. Okay.
And so I love that movie. So it just was sad to me because I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, she's so young. I didn't realize she was 57, but I mean,
that's not old.
It's not, but I mean, she doesn't look. If that's 57, I'm on board. But
well, she's like Michelle Pfeiffer. Those women are aging so gracefully. God. I mean, they're just the most beautiful women, and they were when they were younger, and they look even more beautiful today.
Yeah, then I look at myself in the mirror before I get in the shower, and I'm like, you dump.
You're not a dump. Oh my God, stop it. You know what? I had another epiphany, when we were squabbling a bit about how you were not super thrilled with the new photos. Did you see what somebody wrote?
They're like, well, it is a little excessive.
No, they didn't say it was excessive. They said, well, you can't see your nose. And I was like, all right.
No complaints there, but.
I thought that.
Actually,
and I was like.
Said no one ever.
And she's like, well, you know, her nose. And I'm like, well, I would think that was the one thing that she liked. But all right.
Yeah, I was like, delete that comment.
I was just like, you know what, motherfuckers? She's beautiful. And the problem is this. You don't see how beautiful you are. I went and looked at the unedited version of the photo you sent me. And then I looked at what I did. The only thing that's different is I fluffed your hair and I gave you heavy eye makeup. That is it. I didn't do anything else. That is what you look like. You are beautiful. So shut the fuck up about it. Start recognizing how pretty you are and get on board with this.
I recognize.
All right. We're going to move on to our H-Ugly and Awkward Moments of the week. Today, we're doing Server Edition. Here's the first one. While taking the order for a party of 20, I was asking the elderly guest how she would like her salmon prepared, rare, medium, etc., and instead asked, how would you like your semen prepared tonight?
Oh my.
The table grew silent. She stared at me blankly, slowly smiled, and said, I'll take it medium. I love it.
Oh my God.
That's a woman who knows how to play. I loved it.
Seriously.
This one made me, this is awkward. This is something I would have done. I asked the table how everything tasted. I looked to see that they hadn't even started eating yet because they were in the middle of a prayer.
God.
Look,
can
you
only
can
imagine
totally,
what family that might be like.
well, look, okay. I'm trying.
I hated that more than life itself. I'm like, really? Every fucking time? What do you think's going to happen if we don't?
I'm
We're
just
gonna be
like, okay.
struck by lightning.
Do you know how many times I've been out to lunch with our mom and I'll be like, so, da, 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 and I look and I'm like, oh, okay, never mind. She's praying.
Yes, because this is necessary in life before
Well,
you eat your
for some
liver and
people it is.
onion sandwich at Sam's.
Okay, this final one is an exchange that somebody had after a very long shift at the restaurant. So the diner goes, yes, I'm ready to order. I'm so hungry I could eat your fingers. And the server said, it's not because you're hungry, it's because I'm so handsome. And the diner stared blankly. I meant it to be a non-sexual joke, but I don't know how anyone could take that as non-sexual. I wanted to die.
Wow.
That's a very awkward,
But
dual
why would
awkward.
she say, if we were all sitting at a table and Stephanie says, oh, I'm so hungry I can eat your fingers, we'd be like, ew.
Like, what are you doing? Yeah. And
We'd be like, God,
then the server
does he even, and
oh.
we'd probably be like, God, does he even wash his hands? Stephanie, that's gross. And he'd be like, oh, it's not because you're hungry. It's because you want to eat my finger. Or no, wait, what? I
It's
don't
not
know.
because you're hungry. It's because I'm so handsome.
I'd be like, no, that's maybe.
Well, that is
I don't
definitely
know.
not it.
I'd be like, I mean, I get no one should be wanting to eat anyone's fingers. That's gross. Whatever you guys have
awkward.
going on, just take it outside.
I think we need a new server.
I'm trying to eat here. You know what? I'm not even
God.
hungry. Box
Never
this
mind.
up.
Well, I wanted chicken fingers, but forget it.
God, box this. I'll order the chicken. Fuck. You know what? Never mind.
You ruined it. You all ruined it with your awkward.
I'm like, you know what? Get me the corn dog.
And make sure I have a lot of mayonnaise and ranch dressing.
Ew.
Sorry. Anyway, that's all I have.
What a weird show.
I know. We've so much breaking news.
Yep. Okay. So thanks everybody for joining us. Hope you enjoy your week. You know, I wish just one last thing.
Yeah.
I wish my computer had a program or an app where every day I logged in, it popped up and said, what words do you want to avoid today? And I would type in masks, COVID-19, coronavirus, and that'd probably be it for right now. Because if I see another fucking thing about wearing masks, I'm going to punch someone in their mask.
I think everyone's wearing masks for the most part. So it's kind of like speaking to the choir.
Oh, no, not everybody. Not everybody at all.
Oh,
I have friends.
You're not wearing
I have
a
friends. Well, I'm wearing a mask. I have friends that are just like, you know, with a 99.9% of blah, blah, blah. Do I really need to wear a mask? And
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
you do.
You know, I just complain because mine gets hot. And
Well,
so,
I mean, the way I look at it is that you can absolutely hate it, but just do it anyway. And then, but you don't, to me, the biggest issue is those people that get violent and confrontational in public, which let me just tell you, if one more person threatens my daughter at the cafe for refusing to wear a mask, I will come down there and I will kill you. I'm
why
over
doesn't
it.
she wear a mask?
She does wear a mask, but people come in saying that it's an abomination to force people to wear masks, and that this is Satan's work, and that it is unconstitutional, and they are in her face because she.
I'd get a pastry gun and I'd shoot them in the eye with frosting, and I'd be like, "Get the fuck out!"
Yeah, you would think that would be appropriate, but strangely, it's not appropriate. And so the thing is they're coming in, screaming it, and then leaving. So they're just upset. She came home in tears 2 days in a row because of people. And I'm
You know
like,
what?
I'm going to go down there and I'm just going to be there. And I'm like, please do this in front of her so that I can kill you.
I'm gonna go down there just the next day I have free to myself and just take out my aggression on what they're teenagers, right? Or who are they?
Oh no, they're old people. They're like my age, your age. They have children with them. I mean, they're.
I'm gonna wear a mask and a hat so they can't recognize me, and I'm just gonna grab them and shake them and be like, "Don't yell at young people!
Right. Well, anyway.
I know where you live." live.
Yeah, it's been really distressing, and so my point is, if you don't like wearing a mask because you think it's some kind of affront or a hoax, that's fine. Just don't go outside. Don't go around people who are just doing their job. Okay, they're just doing their job. They're not, I saw a woman destroy the mask section at a Target, and these two Target workers come over, and they were probably 18 years old, and the woman was absolutely out of her mind. And I'm like, these are teenagers. What they're not doing anything. They're just trying to live their life.
Did security make her pay for all that?
No. She filmed herself and then ran out of the store. It's just this weird thing to be destructive and violent and overtly confrontational for no purpose is weird. It's so weird. I don't understand it. It's like, and no,
I understand it, but I'm on the other end of the spectrum. I want to kick her ass.
Yeah. So I told Daryl, I said, if I hear about this again, I'm just gonna plant myself there. You can't sit inside, but I mean, I can sit outside, and I will just wait. I can't I can't have it. I can't have someone continue to threaten my child.
You sit on one end of the street, or on one end of the sidewalk. I'll sit on the other end of the sidewalk, so that way, if one gets away, I'll get him as they're running.
We'll just be their little security team.
We'll tag team.
Yeah, I'm like, you want to know what a Karen looks like? Here you go. This isn't Karen though. This is Maria.
We're the Pastry Panthers.
That's right, Panthers.
Okay.
All
right, everybody.
Thanks for listening and sharing the show. See you next time on The Ugly Truth.